Foxboro is sending a message that a lot of people still haven't fully picked up on. Hesitate, and someone else takes your spot. Make the most of June, and you might change the entire roster picture. An overlooked pass rusher is earning real praise. An injury in the tight end room could push New England toward a bold trade. A rookie is going through a crucial transformation up front. And Drake Maye? His minicamp numbers are starting to look almost ridiculous. Subscribe to Patriots Club fans, because today we're going behind the scenes and asking the question that really matters. Is this team preparing for another major leap? Elijah Ponder learned one harsh NFL rule. Opportunity doesn't send a warning, and it definitely doesn't wait for anybody to come back. Harold Landry is out for minicamp. Gabe Jesus isn't participating either. Suddenly, the player who surprised everyone by making the 53-man roster last year is getting work with the starters opposite Draymond Jones. And he isn't just holding a spot. He's making the coaching staff look again. Mike Smith didn't try to soften it. He has extremely high expectations for Ponder. The position coach pointed to something that often separates players who simply survive from players who truly grow behind the scenes. The game has slowed down for him. Ponder understands the calls better. He recognizes what's happening in front of him, and now he can unleash his athleticism without getting stuck inside his own head. Smith even mentioned some freakish moves around the edge, the kind that make a coach stop and say, "Oh wow." When a coach talks like that in June, something is happening, and I love this kind of player. Ponder didn't arrive with some massive hype machine behind him. He came out of Cal Poly, worked quietly, and appeared in 15 games as a rookie. 4 sacks and 2 fumble recoveries aren't just decoration for a player who entered the season fighting just to stay in the building. They show instinct, effort, and an ability to find the football. Mike Vrabel sees confidence. Ponder knows now that he belongs in the NFL. He had a full offseason to build his strength, speed, and explosiveness without carrying the anxiety of a player still trying to understand how every meeting works. At his age, that kind of development window can turn a raw athlete into a real threat in the rotation. But this is where the Foxboro standard kicks in. Minicamp without full pads lets a player show off technique and acceleration. Training camp shows who can handle contact, keep leverage, and finish when the matchup gets physical. Mike Smith summed it up perfectly. Put the pads on and see what Ponder can do when the bullets are flying. Early praise doesn't hand anybody a job. Landry and Jesus will come back to a different competition. Ponder has stacked reps, caught the coach's attention, and gained confidence with the first unit. He doesn't need to be treated like the favorite, but nobody should automatically push him to the back of the line just because another player has a bigger name or required a larger investment. If Ponder keeps producing when the pads come on, Vrabel will have a tough decision. That is exactly the kind of problem a serious roster should create. Ponder's rise shows how one absence can create an opening for someone already inside the building. On offense, Julian Hill's injury created a hole that may require outside help. Hill suffered a season-ending knee injury and has already been placed on injured reserve. When Mike Vrabel was asked about the number of tight ends available for camp, he admitted New England would probably have to evaluate the position and potentially address it. That answer doesn't guarantee a major trade. It doesn't shut the door either. If the Patriots decide to attack the market, Michael Mayer is the kind of player who deserves a real phone call. Mayer is stuck in an awkward situation in Las Vegas. The Raiders selected him near the top of the second round in 2023, when Josh McDaniels was their head coach. But Brock Bowers' arrival completely changed the position's hierarchy. Through 3 seasons, Mayer has 83 receptions for 788 yards and 3 touchdowns. Those numbers don't jump off the screen, but the context matters. Bowers started commanding most of the opportunities while Mayer became trapped in a smaller role than his pedigree once suggested. For New England, this goes beyond replacing Hill during camp. Hunter Henry is 31 and entering the final year of his contract. Eli Raridon brings athletic upside and could develop, but betting the entire future of the position on that possibility would be far too passive for a team trying to sustain a championship window around Drake Maye. Mayer is also entering the final year of his rookie deal. Any trade would involve 2 decisions: what it costs to acquire him now and what it would cost to keep him later. I want aggression with discipline. If Las Vegas would accept the kind of package suggested in the article, a 5th-round pick and a 7th, I'm calling immediately. Not because Mayer has already proven he is a star. I'm making that call because he is 24, came out of Notre Dame as a highly regarded prospect, and could form a strong, reliable, versatile tandem with Henry. Josh McDaniels knows the player and should know whether the offensive fit still works. Don't negotiate against yourself. The Raiders may want to keep Mayer. The asking price could rise, and a contract extension would have to enter the conversation. Giving Giving up meaningful draft capital for a player who could leave after one season would be lazy roster management. Ignoring the market after losing Hill would be just as lazy. Adding A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs already showed that the Patriots are willing to give Maye more weapons. Mayer wouldn't need to carry the offense. He would need to block, work the middle of the field, provide a dependable option, and let New England use two tight end formations without tipping off the play call. This wouldn't be a move just to put out a fire. It would be an attempt to turn a painful injury into planning for both today and 2027. If New England truly believes it can return to the Super Bowl, it needs to explore opportunities before they become desperate needs. A trade for Michael Mayer would be an external decision. The next challenge is already being handled on the field, rep after rep, as Caleb Lomu tries to reprogram his own body. New England selected a left tackle in the first round for the second straight year, but Lomu wasn't brought in simply to copy Will Campbell's role. The plan is to expand his options, and his first assignment is moving to the right side. It sounds simple on a whiteboard. It isn't. Lomu played his entire college career on the left. Now he has to reverse his initial step, his protection angle, and the hand responsible for delivering the first strike. On the left, he initiated contact with his left hand. On the right, he has to trust his right. The rhythm between his hands and feet changes with it. One moment of hesitation against an NFL pass rusher is enough to get Drake Maye hit. The most important detail isn't Lomu saying he already feels comfortable. It's how he got there. The rookie said he works before, during, and after practice, repeating those movements until they start feeling natural. That behavior carries real value for a coach like Mike Vrabel. Talent opens the door. The ability to correct mistakes quickly keeps a player on the field. Morgan Moses has been on a snap count this spring, and Lomu has used that opening to work as the starting right tackle next to Mike Owenu. That alignment matters. He isn't learning in the shadows against backups. He's hearing the first unit's calls, experiencing the speed of the starting offense, and building communication with a veteran guard. When the second unit takes over, Lomu moves back to the left. During the same practice, his brain has to flip the whole picture. That flexibility is exactly what Vrabel praised. According to the coach, Lomu learns quickly and usually doesn't make the same mistake twice. That sentence grabs my attention more than any highlight without pads. A rookie who takes coaching and doesn't fight change can earn the staff's trust earlier than expected. The 2026 projection still has Campbell and Moses as the starting tackles, with Lomu serving as the swing tackle. But Moses is a veteran, and the NFL never asks permission before testing an offensive line's depth. If Lomu can step in on either side without breaking the protection, the Patriots won't merely have a backup. They'll have a strategic insurance policy for the most important player in the franchise. Turn the comments into our Foxboro evaluation room. Grade this plan to develop Lomu on both sides from 0 to 10. Then explain your grade in one sentence. I'm giving it a 9. We still need to see him handle real power in training camp, but versatility, humility, and repetition are a combination worth trusting. New England isn't teaching a rookie how to survive at two positions. It's trying to build a tackle capable of preventing one absence from changing an entire season. All that work with Lomu points toward one obvious priority: protecting Drake Maye. Because honestly, this quarterback ceiling is starting to challenge even Foxboro's wildest expectations. Go back 2 years. In 2024, Maye was the only light on a broken team, but the signs of youth were still there. 10 interceptions and 9 fumbles. The talent flashed on every improbable throw, along with the feeling that he needed to learn how to control the chaos. Mike Vrabel arrived, the structure changed, and the leap was massive. Maye surpassed 5,000 passing yards across the regular season and playoffs, led New England to a 14-3 record, and took the team to the Super Bowl. The kid stopped being a source of hope. He became the center of this franchise's power. That's why the minicamp report carries so much weight. Drake Silver, who attended the practice, described Maye as being on another level and counted 38 completions on 40 attempts during drills against the defense, including 7 touchdowns. That's one observer's count, not an official stat sheet. And June doesn't offer the same contact, speed, or consequences as Sunday football. Still, 38 of 40 is far too specific to brush off as just another casual spring workout. What does that number suggest? Command. Maye doesn't look like he is entering year 3 trying to recreate what he already accomplished. He looks like he is accelerating from that point. And the organization has finally given him an environment worthy of his ambition. A J. Brown changes the geometry of a defense. Romeo Doubs gives him a legitimate second option. Hunter Henry remains a trusted target over the middle. If Mayer joins that room, the offense gains another answer. A deep enough line could also let Maye attack without turning every play into a heroic escape. This is where my expectations rise. Statistical regression is possible after a season that big. The schedule, injuries, turnovers, and defensive adjustments don't care about anybody's story. But but accepting a step backward as inevitable would be far too small for this franchise. Special quarterbacks don't repeat the exact same season. They find a new way to control games. Maye may not need to surpass every number. He needs to recognize blitzes earlier, give away fewer possessions, punish single coverage, and take complete authority over this offense. Here in New England, we know the difference between a great run and the beginning of a standard. Maye still has to prove he can sustain this year after year, but he's already forcing a much bigger conversation. MVP campaigns may stop feeling like exceptions and start becoming expectations. That changes everything around him. Ponder needs to pressure opposing quarterbacks. The front office needs to solve the tight end depth problem. Lomu needs to make sure one injury doesn't expose the protection. These aren't four separate stories. They're four pieces trying to keep pace with how quickly Maye pushed the Patriots back into contention. When your quarterback reaches this level, excessive patience becomes waste. Foxboro's responsibility is to build like a contender, make decisions like a contender, and enter every Sunday expecting to win. June doesn't hand out trophies, but it reveals intentions. Ponder is turning other players' absences into real pressure. Hill's injury forces the front office to decide whether it merely fills out the roster or thinks bigger by pursuing Michael Mayer. Lomu is learning to protect both sides, and Maye is beginning to make an extraordinary season feel like a starting point. Pick your side in the comments. Should the Patriots attack a Mayer trade immediately or trust the current group? Subscribe, hit the like button, and stay locked in with Patriots club fans. From the heart of Foxboro, I'm Sean Callahan. Competing has never been enough here. Winning is the expectation.